Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Maisie and today we are doing my April reading wrap up. Now I'm interested to know, when it comes to a month of reading, how do you measure your success? Do you measure it by how many books you read, or do you measure it by how much you enjoyed those books? I do have a reading goal for this year of 100 books and I would really like to achieve that. And now I agree with a lot of people's opinions that it doesn't matter how many books you read, it's not about that. But at the same time, that is a goal that I really do want to achieve. I do really want to read 100 books this year, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because this month I read the least amount of books I have read in quite a while. I only read 6 books, but half of these 6 books that I read were 5 stars. So I kind of have conflicting opinions about this month. I found myself in a bit of a slump at the start of the month when I just wasn't in the mood for reading, just like didn't want to read. I did then get out of that slump, but it has meant that I just didn't read as much as I wanted to. But I read some amazing books that I just loved, and yeah, I'm now in a much better place with my reading thanks to basically the books that I read this month. That was a very long, rambly intro. I'm just going to get into the books now and talk about them, but yeah, just wanted to say it wasn't a great month in terms of only reading 6 books. That's kind of below average for me, so let's get into it. I feel like the only place that I can start this video, the only way that it makes sense, will be to talk about a new favourite series that I have found, and that is the Sacred Stone series. This is A Dawn of Onyx, the first book, and the second book, A Promise of Peridot. I picked up A Dawn of Onyx in Followers Pick What I Read for a Week video, so if you want to hear more in-depth thoughts about this series and this book, then please do watch that video. I will leave it linked below. And then I picked up this one more recently. This book came out this month, so it's a new release, and this is going to be a trilogy. So the third book comes out, I can't remember exactly when it comes out, but this year. I will put it on screen. I didn't really know what to expect with these books. I just hadn't really heard anyone talk about them, but A Dawn of Onyx like kept coming up on my Instagram page, and I just I got sucked in to the advertising from the author, and it just sounded like a bit of me. I think this series is basically advertised as like, if you like the Play to Prison series, you will like this. And I'm currently reading the Play to Prison series. I haven't finished it, but I really enjoy it and I enjoy the romance in it, so I thought, yeah, I'll pick this up. We are following Arwen, our main character. This is set in a place called Evandale. I don't know if I'm saying that right. And basically it is split into different kingdoms. She is from the Kingdom of Amber, and the Kingdom of Amber are currently at war with the Onyx Kingdom. Her brother is one of the people who is off fighting this war, and they have not heard from him for a long time, and they are kind of worried that he has died. However, one day he kind of comes back and he has escaped the war. Something bad has happened. He's escaped, and he basically tells Arwen and their family that they need to leave and escape ASAP. However, things don't go to plan, and Arwen gets captured by some Onyx soldiers and she gets taken back to the Kingdom of Onyx. Arwen is a very talented healer, so basically she gets like imprisoned in the Kingdom of Onyx and has to work for them as a healer. That is like the starting plot for this book, and I realise I have said that and like none of that says anything about the romance, but I just don't want to say anything about the romance because I just don't want to give any spoilers. All you need to know is that the romance is a very large part of this book and this series, and it is an enemies to lovers romance, and I absolutely love the romance. That is like the reason why I love this series so much. But I gave both of these books 5 stars. This one in particular is the book that got me out of my reading slump. I found it so quick and easy to read, and the romance just like captured me. Like I just wanted to keep reading and see what was going to happen. And then the way that this book ends, I just couldn't wait to pick up A Promise of Peridot, and this one was just as good. You've got lots of like angsty romance in here. You've got some really good side characters as well, which I also enjoy, and I wonder if we are going to get a like spin-off series following some of those characters. But the trilogy is following Arwen and her love interest. I don't want to say who it is, and in the second book you actually get both of their perspectives as well. In the first book you just get her perspective. So yeah, if you have seen this book and have been considering reading it, I literally can't recommend it enough. I love it. I haven't felt this way about like a fantasy romance, like specifically the romance, honestly, maybe since ACOTAR. And I know that is saying a lot, but I just loved the romance. So these two were both 5-star reads for me. Let's just go into the one other like fantasy book that I read this month. This was also in my Followers Pick What I Read for a Week video, and this is Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands. So this is the sequel to Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. This is classed as a cozy fantasy, and there is a romance, but it is like a subplot of romance. It's not the main plot of the book. This is a trilogy as well, by the way. I loved the first book. I think I gave it 4.5 stars. It was so cozy. I loved it. I loved the romance. This book I think that I didn't love the general plot as much. The romance I still absolutely loved. Like, the romance is just so well done, and sometimes I think that like the romance being a side plot means it's even better because you are just like living for that little sliver of romance that you get. And I love the characters so much in this book. We have Emily Wilde. She is a professor at Cambridge University, like specialising in all things fae and fairies, and she is very grumpy. And then there is another professor, Wendell Bambleby, and he is the opposite to that. He is like sunshine, and they are kind of like friends. Emily is very kind of reluctant to call him that, but they are friends, they work together, and there is romance between them. But they basically, in the first book and in this book, go on these little expeditions to find out more about certain fairies that are living in different places. And yeah, it's just really cute. But as I said, I didn't like this book as much as the first one, I think just because the kind of main plot I found a bit slow. Like, the end of this book, so much happens, but like the first 2/3, not that much happens. And I know it's a cozy fantasy, but I did just find this one a little bit slow for like the first 2/3. But yeah, I still really enjoyed it. I think I gave this 3.5 stars. Let me just check that. So I gave this one 3.75 stars. It's still a good rating. I just didn't like it quite as much as the first one, but I still really enjoyed it and recommend this series if like cozy fantasy sounds like something you'd enjoy. I've never read any kind of like cozy book before, by the way, so I wasn't sure it was something that I would enjoy, but I definitely do. And they're not long books. I think if they were long I wouldn't enjoy them, but they're just kind of short, easy to read. Anyway, that was Emily Wilde. Next we have Keeping 13 by Chloe Walsh. This is the second book in the Boys of Torment series and the second book following Shannon and Johnny. If you didn't know, I loved the first book, Binding 13. I read it last month. I gave it 5 stars. I read it in my reading for 24 hours video, and yeah, I couldn't wait to pick this one up. I will say, if I had to pick, I probably preferred Binding 13 to this one. Found especially the start of this book quite slow. There's a situation at the start of this book that just feels like it takes a long time to be resolved or for like our characters to move on from it. In general, these books, like obviously they're bricks, they're massive, so everything is very dragged out, but that in particular kind of bothered me, how long it took to kind of move on and get into like the meat of the story in this one. But I couldn't give this book anything less than 5 stars. Like, I just love it. I'm so attached to these characters. When I'm reading it, I'm just gripped. I love them so much, and yeah, I'm so excited to keep reading the series. If you didn't know, this is a romance series set at a private school in Ireland, and we have Shannon, who basically comes from an abusive home, and she's also been bullied at school. So she's actually from a very poor family, but her mother basically pays for her to go to this private school because she was being bullied so badly and wants to like give her a chance at starting afresh and not being bullied. So she goes to Tormund College. That's where she meets Johnny, who is our male main character for these 2 books, and he is like this rugby star. He is a couple of years older than her, and the 2 of them straight away have a connection. There are definitely some things about this like book that's like kind of funny, like very stereotypical, like almost Wattpad. But yeah, I loved it, and the next 2 books will now follow Joey and Aoife, and Joey is Shannon's older brother. So I'm really excited to read their books. I know that people say that those books in particular are really sad, so we will see how I go. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be picking those up this month. Did I say my rating? This is another 5 stars. Yeah, I did say that. And then we have Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood. This is Ali Hazelwood's only ever YA book, I believe, and I love Ali Hazelwood's writing. I just think her books are so easy to read, so addictive, and they're just like the perfect length. They're not too dragged out. The romance is always really good, and yeah, I really liked this one. This takes place in the world of chess, and although it is YA, our main characters are like 18 and 20, so like they're not super young. I'm not gonna lie, I consider myself a bit of a chess girl. My boyfriend would definitely disagree with me on that, but you know, when I was younger, I did once go to like one chess club session at school. I know how to play chess. I've always known how to play chess. Am I the best at chess? Probably not, but like I know the rules. I can play. My boyfriend actually really likes chess and he would say that I am terrible. Like, he gives me a handicap every time we play. It's very boring for him to play against me. But, you know, I know the rules and I enjoyed the vibe. I liked watching The Queen's Gambit, if you've seen that on Netflix, because it was just like fun. You don't see that much about chess, and I enjoyed reading like a sweet little rom-com that was set in the chess world. I liked the romance in this. It was kind of like slow burn, which I always like, a slow burn romance. It shocked me, to be honest, how much I like this book, because I feel like I have seen like kind of mixed things. Like most people seem to kind of give it 3 stars, 3.5 stars. I really loved this. I am giving it 4.5 stars. At one point I was reading it thinking this could be a 5-star book. It wasn't in the end, but it was 4.5 stars and I absolutely loved it. And yeah, I definitely recommend if you have not already read this. I really need to read Bride by Ali Hazelwood as well. And what's the other one I've not read? Love on the Brain. I've not read that yet either, but I really need to pick up the rest of her books because I always just have a really good time reading them. Okay, and then the last book that I have to talk about is Practice Makes is Perfect by Sarah Adams. This again is a book that I picked up in my followers pick what I read for a week video. This is a follow-on to When in Rome, and it's basically a small town romance. I loved When in Rome. I gave it 4.5 or 4.75 stars. Like, I absolutely loved it. It was like the best rom-com that I've read in a long time. I had very high expectations for this. In this one, we are following the sister of our male main character from When in Rome. She like works as a florist and has her own flower shop. Her name is Annie, and then we are following Will, who is the bodyguard of our female main character from the first book. I expected to really love this one, but I just didn't. I don't know, I didn't dislike it, but the romance I didn't really love. I found Annie quite annoying. Like, she is just very sweet and like a people pleaser. She just wasn't what I like to read about in a romance book. I don't know, she just didn't have enough attitude for me. I like a strong female character, and she kind of wasn't that, so sometimes she was just quite annoying. I did really like Will, but yeah, I didn't love the romance because I didn't really like Annie. She was just a bit too sweet and nice for me, which is maybe a mean thing to say, but it's okay, they're not real people. I gave this one 3.25 stars, so I still thought it was good, just the romance like wasn't fully for me. So there, oh, I don't know why I decided to try and pick these up. So there we have it. These are the 6 books that I read in April. As I said, I think overall, like, I'm still going to count this as a good reading month, although in May maybe I just need to get on it and read some more books because I am behind my reading goal on Goodreads and I just want to complete that. Let me know if you have read any of these books and what your thoughts are on them, or if there's any that you really want to pick up. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and a comment and subscribe if you haven't already, and I would love to see you in the next one.